the guys who flew the tangos with the Laotians, the Chapacaos, and the Nakatans. I salute you, sir. One of the things that you're going to use to dedicate one of your memorials will be a T-28, the Tango. Sweet little airplanes. Great machines. But just remember that it's not about the tangos, really. It's about the great men and the great soldiers who flew those airplanes and fought those battles. And the real heroes are those who are yet to return. And as the Aussies always say when they give their toast, lest we never forget. Thank you very much.
I mean, very special for people. She represents refugees, Asians, all Asians, from the state of Minnesota, and she is a brilliant lady. Sia He. Sia He is the executive director of the Councils of Asian Pacific Minnesotans in Minnesota. Welcome. Colonel Wrestling, who was the key person years ago. Colonel Wrestling, as our chairman has stressed earlier, was the one who initiated this memorial. So today, we recognize him and we remember him. Then we'll remember and honor Jerry Daniel, a chief officer, CIA officer, who left Longcheng, who was the last American who left Longcheng along with General Vang Pao. Many others. Now we go down to the list. The list is too long for us to name them, but let's say we honor General Vang Pao. We memorialize him along with his top commander, Blue Mian of the SGU. We honor you all. The day is not too long for us, so I will ask that our keynote speaker, our guest speakers, Sia He, stand up before you speak. This is the lady from Minnesota. Welcome. To keep time short, she has provided her excellent and credible bios. I will provide that bios to you all. I will not read her bios here, but she is an incredible lady with a lot of knowledge, intelligent ladies, very, powerful lady. Thank you.
All right, no pressure, right, Uncle?
I was giving her pressure earlier last night, but today, free.
All right. Well, I will do my best to deliver on all of the expectations that are now in all of your minds. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today for this historic moment, the launching of the National Lao Hmong Memorial. My name is Sia He, and I come from the great state of Minnesota. So I bring greetings from Governor Tim Walz, Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, the Minnesota legislature, and of course our two U.S. senators, Senator Amy Klobuchar and Senator Tina Smith. Before I go any further, I want to just take a moment to recognize those whose efforts have made the dream of the National Lao Hmong Memorial a reality. I know that my predecessors have already called them out, but I feel it's a duty of mine to also just identify them. So the Honorable Congressman for Colorado's 7th Congressional District, Representative Ed Perlmutter, who is not here with us anymore this afternoon. Of course, the General Tom Ferraro, the very honorable members of the board of the National Lao Hmong Memorial, including Chairman John Horan, and my esteemed elder, Mr. Chi Yang, the 35,000 Lao Hmong Special Guerrilla Units, also known as SGU, the Royal Lao Army, also FAR, of Military Region 2 in Northern Laos, the 727 American service members who all of these made the ultimate sacrifice in the secret war. Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't point out Mayor Anita Seitz and the council member. Thank you for being here and for staying for my speech. And then, of course, the generous donors who have made this memorial possible. You know, I'm just going to say a couple of words in Hmong because I see before me my elders, and so I don't think it would be appropriate to proceed without saying a couple of words in Hmong. So, nhớ trong nó hợp cho này cho này thì chỉ chỉ sinh chấp lời này cho cô tu cho lúc nào nó giờ trong xe cơ hay để mua lúc xí hợp cho cô tu sở 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 thiên nó thế tôi chỉ biết là lúc đó này 我做了那些的呢，莫内天里莫叫罗中里古，只莫一老路诶有啊，开了那叫老的，古地那真全部里家的是啊，只要被老路那罗那是古马里莫海路安基呢，所以我做了那些的呢。All right, so. Thank you and congratulations to everyone whose sacrifices, vision, perseverance, and generous financial contributions made this national memorial possible. I join our community in standing on your shoulders today, fully recognizing your dedication, your service, and your sacrifices. Today is truly historic. So I'm going to ask that we just take a moment to look around and commit this ceremony to memory. As Executive Director of the Council on Asian Pacific Minnesotans, I am the key staff member of a state agency created in 1985 by the Minnesota legislature to advise our governor and our legislators on issues of importance to Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, also API. As the Minnesota state government's expert on this community comprised of Americans from more than 40 nations, we at the council often point out two facts. Minnesota is home to the largest urban concentration of Hmong Americans. The latest estimates tell us that it's a community about 95,000 strong. We also stress another fact, and that's that Minnesota's API community is so uniquely different from any other state's API community in that we are a refugee-experienced majority community. Last year, 2020, was a milestone for our refugee-experienced communities as we marked 45 years since the end of the Vietnam War and the beginning of a journey towards freedom that continues to this day. This refugee experience community includes those with roots in Laos, such as the Hmong, the Tai Dam, the Lumian, the Khmu, the Lu, and others whose stories are just now beginning to be heard more widely. These Southeast Asian refugees came to Minnesota in the aftermath of the Vietnam War. They, as well as Minnesota's growing API immigrant community, prompted the creation of my office 36 years ago. The success that these newcomers achieved in Minnesota prompted a secondary migration that moved Minnesota's API community from 26,000 in 1985 to about 400,000 today. The majority of these newcomers were Hmong. Strong support from social service agencies, local and state government, nonprofits, and welcoming and effective public schools, coupled with an incredible work ethic, intense family support, and the potential of the American dream, paved the way for numerous success stories. Refugees who arrived with nothing but the clothes on their backs had access to the tools they needed to lift each other up and to become part of the broader community. With these tools, the Hmong community transformed into the Hmong American community. Minnesotans rallied around their new neighbors, and Minnesotans largely accepted and shared in Hmong American success. Together, the efforts of the Hmong American community ensured that the Hmong in Minnesota did more than just survive. We thrived, including my own family who ended up in Minnesota from Laos via California. So many of us here today and at home share similar stories. Families fighting in the secret war, disruption occurring following the American withdrawal, and acceptance that staying in the traditional villages of Laos was not an option. Courageous, dangerous, and terrifying escapes in the dark of night and across the Mekong River to the safety of Thailand. Journeys that many did not survive. So let us pause here for a moment and recognize their courage and commit to honor their memory. My childhood memories began in the camps in Thailand. And my community members here know that there is no one story of life in the camps and the journey to America and other welcoming countries. There are thousands and thousands of these stories, and each one of these stories is unique. Each individual story is their own. Each family story is their own. By far, most have been success stories, but not all of them, just like the stories of our SGUs and their families. And just as our families work hard to keep our family intact from one generation to another, our larger community is striving to keep our cultural history intact from one generation to another. We are living out the American experience of immigrants and refugees, keeping our history, our culture, and our traditions alive by being part of a broader collective American identity. That is the purpose of this National Memorial, to keep the memories alive, to educate others and ourselves, to foster greater mutual understanding and respect, to weave into the tapestry of America the stories of America's secret war allies and their struggles on the battlefield in Laos, to honor the plight of refugees then and now, and more importantly than anything I've said before, to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable. We must remember those we lost. Their memories matter. Their lives mattered. This National Memorial honors them, now and going forward. They mattered. We matter. We, all of us here, we matter. And especially to the Hmong Americans, we matter as descendants of the Hmong in Laos, and ordinary people who, through their willingness to embrace risk, to chance death in service of an ally, most knew little about. These Hmong became heroes. They mattered in the conflict between the United States and its allies in Vietnam and the surrounding nations. These Hmong heroes saved lives. We've heard that repeatedly throughout this event. They disrupted supply lines. They showed incredible incredible courage in the Southeast Asian conflict. They mattered then, and they matter today. And now, they matter in a different way. They matter as the scions of the family lines that are thriving and branching out in a new homeland. And yes, I did say homeland. Somewhere along the way, we have become Hmong American. And I will say to you that we are no less Hmong for being American. We are a people. Thank you. We are in fact a people overcoming historic adversity to create a new present and an even more encouraging future. Because those we seek to honor here today were heroes, not just on the battlefields, but in the villages in Laos, in the crossing of the Mekong River, in the refugee camps of Thailand, and in many cases, in the struggle to forge new lives in America. They endured the indignities of the refugee camp life, embraced the terror of leaving everything and everyone behind to get on an airplane and to fly across the largest ocean on the planet. And in some cases, to go to Minnesota, where if you have not heard it yet, I will tell you, it gets really, really cold there, and often. And these heroes waited impatiently for the day when they and their children could speak English and hold their heads up high as Americans. These are our heroes, not just in war, but in finding a place of belonging, free from fear, for their families and for their community. These heroes found ways to help their children and now grandchildren attain levels of success they could not even dare to dream of. We today honor their efforts as soldiers of the United States. We honor their heroism. We honor their resilience. We honor the sacrifices they made, including the ultimate sacrifice. This national memorial pointedly ensures that we will not ever forget these heroes. But their ultimate memorial is those who are their descendants. As a proud daughter and granddaughter of the Secret War, my life matters. Like so many of us here today, I am the living, breathing legacy of the heroes that we honor today. I am proud to be among daughter. I am proud to be among granddaughter. I am so exceptionally proud to be among American who can stand here amongst heroes and honor them at this wonderful launch. So one more time, let's take a moment of silence and commit this place, this ceremony, and each other to our individual and collective memories. So to those whose lives this memorial recognizes, thank you. And to those of us whose lives are a living memorial to the heroes recognized here today, let us live our lives as individuals, as family members, as Hmong, and as Hmong Americans in a manner that will make them as proud of us as we are of them. I'm just going to take a pause from that very serious tone and speak directly to the younger Hmong Americans, both to those who are here today and to those at home across the United States of America. This message is to you and for you. I hope that this national memorial inspires you to deepen your knowledge of your Hmong heritage and to revel in its richness. I hope, too, that you will see in this memorial a link to your Hmong heritage that you may not have had the opportunity to know firsthand, because as Hmong in America, the experience of the Hmong in Laos is a cultural and historical saga rather than a shared series of events. I have mentioned the importance of this memorial, passing on the heritage of those who lived during the most difficult times in Laos, in Thailand, and in the early years in America. As I close, and if I may take a moment of personal privilege, I will share with you a few heroes of mine. In the memory of my maternal grandfather, Tongkaya, of the village of Kankai in the Xinjiang province, my maternal grandfather fought as a soldier under the direction of General Vang Pao, and he remained committed to the cause of a country free from the yoke of communism until he was assassinated. In the memory of my paternal grandfather, Zoneng He, of the village of Palai in the Xinjiang province. My paternal grandfather, too, fought as a soldier under the direction of General Vang Pao. In 1963, he sustained injuries to his left leg from a trap set by Vietnamese communist soldiers. He later died from stepping on an unexploded ordnance. In honor of my father, Ziying He, of the village of Palai Kenkai in the Xinjiang province as well, my father fought as a soldier under the direction of General Vang Pao. He was bodyguard to my maternal grandfather. And to this day, my father still has recurring nightmares about being in the jungles, embracing his body. In honor of my mother, Ku Yang, of the village of Kankai, in Xinjiang province as well, she too fought in the secret war. As a daughter, a wife, and a mother, she spent the first 3 decades of her life just surviving, waiting for the secret war to end, and yearning for a life free from fear for her husband, for her father, and eventually for her children. These are my heroes. I encourage all of you especially our young Hmong Americans, to identify the heroes in your families and to make sure that this National Lao Hmong Memorial becomes a part of your story in the years to come. Albert Einstein, an immigrant to America, said it best: "Our death is not an end if we can live on in our children and the younger generation, for they are us. Our bodies are only wilted leaves on the tree of life." So, thank you, and I look forward to returning to Westminster to celebrate with all of you the completion of the National Lao Hmong Memorial.
Touched my heart greatly. This is why we're here. I can't think of a better expression of why this memorial exists, why this memorial deserves to exist. Again, I'd like to thank not just Sia Her, but Lieutenant Colonel Dr. To Yang, Chu Vang, Brigadier General Thomas Perraro, Raven Colonel Darrell Whitcomb, Mayor Anita Seitz, and Congressman Ed Perlmutter for your wonderful remarks today. Can we give one more round of applause to our speakers? We are anticipating that 2 years from now we will begin construction. We have a lot of money to raise, and there is much that needs to be done between now and then. But we have momentum. We encourage you to visit our website, which is lao-hmongmemorial.org. You're also welcome to leave a donation if you wish. Young Milor and the volunteers have a place where you can do that. Last, I wish to thank my fellow board members, and especially Debbie Hunter-Holen, Young Milor, John O'Donnell, and Paul Anslow, the director of Rocky Mountain Metropolitan Airport, for all that you have done to organize today's event. Please, a round of applause for those fine people. I also want to acknowledge the youth from the community who arrived early today to assist with parking and set up and operate the check-in table together with our other volunteers. Our volunteers are kind of spread around. If you're nearby, could I ask our volunteers to please stand so that we can recognize you with our applause? Thank you. Now I encourage you to please stand for the Mapleton High School ROTC under the direction of Lieutenant Colonel William Arrington as they come forward to retrieve the colors. Following today's presentations, there will be several performances that celebrate Asian culture. We encourage you to stay to see the planes up close, ask our board members any questions, and to enjoy these celebrations of Asian culture. Once again, thank you all for your presence and for your support. Good day.
Chén nào đó nè.
Cho lòng chân hậu sĩ chỉ lo đi qua cho có chân qua núi có lòng xia qua đà nương kia chế cho to ca
giòn rồng lòng trắng nuôi vô anh dài to bông lúa qua mùa xóa lắng xóa to cho nia cho tí cho tên cho to chỉ san dày mũ trao lỡ tê cha
giòn giò lòng chân hậu sĩ chỉ lo vì ua cho thiệt cho có thiệt chỉ mua núp lo hậu luôn rùa xìa qua đà nương thiệt chế cho to ca
giòn rồng lòng trắng nuôi vô anh dài to bông lúa qua mùa xóa lắng xóa to cho nia cho tí cho tên cho to chỉ san dày mũ trao lỡ tê cha
lòng chân có gió mong lu chân trăng giòn giò lòng chân hậu sĩ chỉ lo vì ua cho thiệt cho có thiệt chỉ mua núp lo hậu luôn rùa xìa qua đà nương thiệt chế cho to ca
จังนูยวนใหญ่โต